Shabbat shalom, everybody. Welcome to the congregation here, and welcome to everyone viewing online, whatever system you're on. Thank you for joining us. Jill was going to start the service, and then Joyce is going to do 2 or 3 pages. Yes, we're on page 69, service 1.
In the spirit of our ancient tradition, which unites and sanctifies the house of Israel, in all lands and ages, we welcome the Sabbath by kindling these lights. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kedishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu, lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Happy is the people by whom the Sabbath is sanctified. Happy are those who rejoice in its blessing, for it comes with the message of God's abiding love as one who brings good tidings and publishes peace.
We read responsibly. Come, let us sing to the Eternal One.
Let our song ring out to the rock of our salvation.
Let us come into God's presence with thanksgiving.
Let us acclaim our God with songs of praise.
For you, Eternal One, are a great God.
Sovereign and great above all other gods.
The depths of the earth are in your hand.
And the mountain peaks are yours.
The sea is yours, for you made it.
The dry land is the work of your hands.
Come, let us bow down in worship.
Let us bend the knee before our Maker.
You are our God and our shepherd.
We are your people and your flock.
Today the world would be redeemed.
If only we would listen to your voice.
Sing a new song to the Eternal One.
Sing to your Creator, all the earth.
Sing to the Eternal One. Praise God's name.
Proclaim God's salvation from day to day.
Declare God's glory among the nations.
God's wonders among all the peoples.
For great is the Eternal One, and greatly to be praised.
To be revered above all other gods.
For all of them are mere idols.
But the Eternal One made the heavens.
Honor and majesty are in God's presence.
Strength and beauty in God's sanctuary.
Acclaim the Eternal One, all races and peoples.
Acknowledge God's glory and might.
Worship the Eternal One in the beauty of holiness.
Tremble in God's presence, all the earth.
Declare among the nations, God reigns, the world stands firm.
God judges peoples with justice.
Let the heavens be glad and the earth rejoice.
Let the sea and all that fills it pour out praise.
Let the field exult and all that is in it.
Let the trees of the forest shout for joy before God, who comes to rule the earth.
To rule the world with righteousness.
And the peoples with truth.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Joyce. That was lovely. Thank you. And now we're on page 73 for the Lechado Day. Lechado Day, Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat, Nekabala. Lechado Day, Likrat Kala, Panei Shabbat, Nekabala. Shamu v'zohar, Badibu echad, ishmianu el ha-miuchad, Adonai echad, u'shamo echad, l'shemu teferet, balit milah, Lahadudi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nakabala Likrat Shabbat Lahu V'neha Ki Meko Habaraha Merosh Mikedem Natsuha Sof Masase Mahila Lahadudi Likrat Kala Nei Shabbat Lahana Hitorari Kifare Kumi Uri Shedaberi Kabod Adonai Adayik Nigala Lahadudi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nakabala Boim Bashalom Ateret Bala Gam B'simcha Uvatzahala Tachemunem Am Segula Boim Kala Lahadudi Likrat Kala B'nei Shabbat Nakala. Now, if you'd all turn to page 92, please, and stand for the Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMavorach. Baruch Adonai HaMavorach Leolam Va'ed. Praise the one to whom our praise is due. We praise the Eternal One to whom our praise is due forever. And if you all can sit down, please. We praise you, Eternal One, our God, Sovereign of the universe, whose word brings on the evening, whose wisdom opens heaven's gates, whose understanding changes times and seasons, and whose will sets the stars in their courses in the sky. You make day and night, rolling light away from darkness, and darkness from light. You make day pass and bring on the night, and separate day from night. You rule the hosts of heaven. We praise you, O God, whose word makes evening fall. Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Torah umitzvot, hukim umishpatim, otanu limadata, al kein Adonai Eloheinu b'shabenu, u'v'kumenu nasiya v'hukecha, v'nisma b'divrei Toratacha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed, ki hem chayenu, Beoret Yamenu, Uvachem Nageva Yom Belaya, Nageva Yom Belaya Dom, Biahaftaho, Tosumi Menu, Leolamim, Leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amel Yisrael. And if you would like to stand for the Shema, please, or sit, or whichever you prefer. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kavod, Malchuto, Leolam Va'ed. Be'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavecha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'eleh, asher anochim tzaveka hayom al levavecha, v'shinamtam lavanecha, v'dibarat bo, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, v'v'levtecha v'aderech, v'v'shachpecha u'v'kumecha, v'shaltem al yittecha, וכתב כל המזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. And you can all sit down now, please. למען תזכרו, ועשיתם את מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם. All this we hold to be true and sure. You alone, Eternal One, are our God, and we are Israel, your people. You have freed us from oppressors and delivered us from tyrants. You led us out of Egypt forever to serve you in freedom. When we witnessed your power, we praised your name and gave thanks. Willingly, we accepted your rule. Then, full of joy, we sang together, Michamo habalim Adonai, Michamo hanedu ba'kodesh, no dehilut hosefet, Adonai yimlo li'olam va'ed. And it has been said, the Eternal One has delivered Jacob and redeemed us from the hand of one stronger than ourselves. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. And perhaps we'll read the next piece together. Grant, Eternal God, that we may lie down in peace, and let us rise up to life renewed. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with your wise counsel, and for your name's sake be our help. Shield us from sickness and war, from famine and distress, and keep us from wrongdoing. Shelter us in the shadow of your wings, for you are our guardian and deliverer, a gracious and merciful God. Guard our going out and our coming in, that now and always we may have life and peace. We praise you, O God. May your sheltering peace descend on us and all who dwell on earth.
We're on page 97. Adonai Sifat Tivna Uvia Gitra Hilatecha. Eternal God, open my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el HaGadol, HaGibor, v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'Konei HaKol, V'Zocher Hasdei Avot V'Imohot, Umevi Geula V'nei B'nehem, L'man Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Hosea Mashiach Magain, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magain Abraham V'Ezra Sarah, Atah Gibor Yolom Adonai, Mahaye Meitim, Atah Rav L'Hashia, Mashiv Haru Emarid HaGeshem, Masriah HaShemesh Emarid HaTal. Makalkel Hayim B'Hesed, Mahaye Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim, Somer Novim B'Rofei HaOlim, Umatir Asurim, Umakayem Emenuloso, L'Shenei Ava, Michamal Aba'al D'Vrot, Umidomela, Merimit Umaye, Umasmia Yeshua. V'ne'emonata v'hayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mahaye hametim. You are holy, awesome is your name, we have no God but you. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God. Please be seated. We thank you, O God, for this Sabbath day, which calls us to a closer communion with you. Though you are near to us at all times, you reveal your presence most clearly when we direct our thoughts towards you in worship and meditation. In you, O God, our humanity is exalted. You are our life. From you come its greatness, its power, its beauty. Establish in us, we humbly pray, a devotion to you that shall be firm in all the circumstances of life. May this service renew in our hearts the sense of your presence and bring us peace. Yismahu b'malchutacha, Yismahu b'malchutacha, Shorei Shabbat v'gorei oneg, Amakashi Shvi, Amakashi Shvi, Kulom Yisfatu Yitadu Matupecha, V'hashvi, Roshitavo, V'kidashto, Hemdat Yomim, Hemdat Yomim, Ozo Karato, Se'el separation. On page 100. Our God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, Eternal One, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath. Ratzei Adonai Eloheinu, Yamacha Yisrael, U'tefilatam, Yahava, Tekabel, U'tehila Ratzon, Tamid Avodat Yisrael, Amecha, Yisrael Amecha, Baruch atah Adonai, Sherotecha levadecha, navod, navod, navod. Modim anachnu lo, she'ata hu Adonai Eloheinu v'Elokei Avotenu li'olam va'ed. So hayenu, begenishenu, atahu l'dor v'dor. Node lecha nesaper tehilotecha. Al hayenu hamsurim b'yodecha. Al nishmotenu hakda loch. V'al nisecha shebachol yom imanu. V'al niflotecha v'tovadecha shebachol eid. Erev v'voker v'socharayim. Baruch atah Adonai atov shimcha ulecha na'er l'hadot. We praise your God, source of goodness, to whom our thanks are due.
Shalom Rav al Yisrael Tasim Leolam Ki Atahu Melech Adon L'Hol Shalom V'Tov B'Necha L'Varech Et Amcha Yisrael B'Chol Et Ufal Sha'ar B'Shlomecha Baruch Atah Adonai Oseh HaShalom.
We just take a minute or two for silent prayer, or simply read the portion on page 101 and 102.
Yehu Ratzon Imre Fi Yehu Ratzon Imre Fi V'Hevyan Lavi Lefanecha Adonai Suri V'Goali. Oh, may the words of my mouth, the meditations of my heart be acceptable before you, O God, my rock and my redeemer. Oh, say shalom b'mramav, Ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol b'nei Adon. Amen.
Okay. When Elton John sang that wonderful song, The Circle of Life, made famous from The Lion King, I doubt whether he or the writer of the lyrics realised how much it had connotations with this week's Torah portion taken from Leviticus chapter 23, Sedra Imor. But just digressing for a moment, when I looked up this week's Torah portion, I was slightly confused, as apparently in Orthodox synagogues, the portion we read last week in liberal synagogues, Kedoshim, is read in Orthodox shuls this week. If you follow that, it's a bit messy, but that is right. The liberal Judaism lectionary explains this deviation because we, as liberal Jews, observe 7 days for festivals, and this throws the Torah calendar. I think this occurs on about 3 occasions during the year. Like so many of our Jewish practices, Why make it easy if you can make it complicated? Getting back to Leviticus chapter 23, what has this got to do with the song Circle of Life and Elton John? Please allow me to explain. In the text, God has given very clear instructions to Moses to not only inform the Israelites about the circle of yearly events, but actually to command them to obey them. This command is not just for a short-term arrangement, but it's forever. In other words, a circle of life for all times. It starts with the observance of Sabbath, the requirement to have a rest from daily tasks and worship. Then the text proceeds with the annual obligation of the festivals, Passover, Shavuot, Sukkot, and it makes special mention of the Day of Atonement and its importance on Jewish life and well-being. The other part of chapter 23, which in my opinion warrants attention, is regarding farmers. As far as I am aware, Kingston Liberal Synagogue has no farmers among their membership. However, all of us can relate to verse 22. It states the following: "And when you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap all the way to the edges of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. I, the Eternal, am your God." In my view, this is a very powerful sentence, which perhaps nowadays has even more relevance than it has had for many years. Firstly, let me mention that Rashi, the Middle Ages biblical scholar and commentator, who had the knack of explaining Bible texts in a way that the average person can understand, has to say on this matter. Rashi states that farmers should leave the grain for the poor to collect themselves, rather than humiliate the recipient by handing it to them. How wise and humble is that? In some measure, is this not what we as members of KLS are doing? Many of us have assisted with donations with our magnificent help with supplying and packing with goods bound for Ukraine. We have no idea which individual person will be the recipient of these goods, but does it matter? Of course not, because we are honouring the comments of Rashi. Sadly, it is not only Ukraine that requires our help. Here at home in the UK, with the cost of living rising at an alarming rate, many genuine members of our society will find it extremely hard to manage. Some may have to choose between eating and heating. Many of us help by donating food items at supermarkets, by buying a little extra when shopping and popping items into collection boxes, thereby honouring the Torah command of leaving something for the poor and needy. We are slowly emerging out of the COVID crisis, only to enter yet another crisis, this one relating to the cost of living. But I suppose that is only the circle of life. Shabbat shalom to you all. And we continue with the Aleinu on page 520. Please stand once you've found the page. Aleinu l'shavei l'adam hakol, l'tei gedula Yosef Bereshit, asher som halkeinu v'hadesh shemo, v'gor aleinu l'hamlich malchuto, v'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamachim, ha'kadosh baruch hu. Shehu notei shamayim v'yosod haaretz, u'mashav yikaro b'shamayim ima'am, u'shinasu zo, v'gavhei maramim, hu Eloheinu Einot, emet malkeinu efes uloto, karakato v'torata, v'yadata hayom v'hashavota el avavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, v'shamayim ima'am, v'yaharetz mitachat einot. Trusting in you, eternal God, We hope soon to behold the glory of your might, when false gods will vanish from our hearts and idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule, when all will invoke your name, relinquish evil, and turn to you alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue swear loyalty. Before you let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give honour. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you reign in glory, as it is written, the eternal one shall reign forever. V'ne'ema v'hoyer Adonai l'melech al kol haaretz v'yom ha'u yihyeh Adonai echad u'shemo u'shemo Page 522. Creator of the universe, you give us life in which joys and sorrows are commingled in accordance with your wisdom, and you send death with its promise of eternal peace. Teach us to accept humbly and courageously whatever burden is laid upon us. Comfort those who mourn, and let the light of faith illumine the darkness of their sorrow with the hope of immortality. Strengthen us at all times with an unfailing trust in your providence. And tonight, on the occasion of their yurtsites, we remember Estelle Siteman, mother of Laurie Siteman, Ted Ennifer, grandfather of Naomi Ennifer, Ruth Lawrence, grandmother of Juliet Petrosovich, Lawrence Ellis, father of Betty Ellis, Terry Sales, half-brother of James Sales, Millie Lawson, aunt of Mark Wolfe, George Goldring, grandfather of Carol Goldring and great-grandfather of Holly Goldring. Is there anybody else named you'd like to mention before we say the Kaddish? Okay. So if we turn over to page 524, please. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah v'alma divra kirute v'yamlich mavute v'hayahon v'yimechon v'v'hayed o Beit Yisrael Bakarar Usman Kareem v'imru Amen. Yehei shemei rabbah v'verach yolom alamei omaya. Yitbarah v'yishtabah v'yitba'ah v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yitaldao v'yitaleo v'yitaleo. Shemei kadishah b'rechu. V'yela kol shirata. Tushbahata nehemata. Damirah v'alma v'imru Amen. Yehei shemei rabbah min shemai. V'hayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru Amen. Oseh shalom b'imrimah, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol b'nei Edom v'imru Amen. Please be seated. Now, before we do it down the line, I think, Rebecca, you've got one or two announcements to make?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Thank you.
That's lovely.
Those who haven't read your bulletin, and if not, why not? Couple of big events coming up over the next couple of months. Friday the 3rd of June in the evening, we are having our big Jubilee Friday night bagels, and we're actually opening up our doors to the local neighbourhood to invite them to come along and celebrate the Jubilee and break bread with us or break bagels with us. Please do all come along so we can show our neighbours what a wonderful and friendly community we are. So please do be there if you can, and hopefully that should be a great event. And then shortly after that, on Saturday the 9th of July, we are holding our fundraising concert for Ukraine. Tickets are now on sale. The link is in the bulletin, it went out yesterday, and you'll see it in the bulletin every week from now onwards and all over social media and posters and so on and so forth. So please buy a ticket for yourself, tell all your friends, come along. Some of you will be singing, some of you will be playing, and hopefully again it will be a great evening and we'll be able to raise some money. KLS Council have agreed to actually match all donations, so anything that's raised will be matched by KLS and donated to charities either working in Ukraine or with Ukrainian refugees. So that's Saturday the 9th of July. Tickets now on sale. That's it for me, thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
just got down along on page 525.
I don't know, you choose.
Adonai Hashem B'terem kol Yaseh Nivra V'nasa V'heshal kol Azai Please stand for the final benediction on page 563. Yivarecha Adonai v'yishmarecha, Ya'eh Adonai panav elecha v'hunecha, Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem l'cha shalom. May God bless us and keep us. May God look kindly upon us and be gracious to us. May God reach out to us in tenderness and give us peace.
Shabbat
Thank
shalom.
you. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom to everybody.
Can I just, before we come up here, can I just thank Judith for the technical work, Rebecca as always for watching over us. People at home watching, I hope you enjoyed the service. Joyce for reading and Jill for reading. Shabbat shalom to you all.
Thank you very much indeed.